hypothetical scenario of Myles Garrett joining the Philadelphia Eagles, as discussed by Eisen, presents a tantalizing prospect for Eagles fans and the NFL as a whole. If Garrett were to leave the Cleveland Browns and join a powerhouse like Philadelphia, the implications would be immense, particularly in bolstering an already dominant Eagles team. Eisen's discussion touches on the frustration Garrett may feel as he looks at his career trajectory, the state of the Browns, and his desire for a championship run. Here's a deep dive into why Garrett to the Eagles would be a game-changer from the perspective of an American football fan. Myles Garrett has cemented himself as one of the NFL's premier defensive players, consistently racking up sacks, pressures, and tackles. However, despite his individual accolades, his tenure with the Browns has been a mixed bag. While Garrett has had some moments of success, including helping Cleveland break their playoff drought, the Browns have not lived up to their full potential. After the Deshaun Watson trade failed to bring the desired results, Garrett finds himself in a situation similar to that of Hall of Famer Joe Thomas, a generational talent playing for a team unable to consistently compete at the highest level. Eisen points out that Garrett, like Thomas, may look at his career and wonder if he will ever get the opportunity to compete for a championship. While Garrett has not publicly voiced dissatisfaction, the idea of him possibly seeking a trade to a more competitive team is plausible. The Browns are in a precarious position. If they can't offer Garrett the opportunity to compete for a Super Bowl soon, they may need to consider parting ways with their star defender to rebuild for the future. This brings us to the Eagles, a team fresh off a Super Bowl appearance and consistently one of the top contenders in the NFC. The Eagles already boast one of the league's best defenses, anchored by players like Eisen and Fletcher Cox. Adding Myles Garrett to that unit would elevate their pass rush to a nearly unstoppable level. Philadelphia's front office has a reputation for being aggressive in building a competitive roster, and Eisen highlights how a player like Garrett would fit seamlessly into the Eagles system. They have a culture of winning, a top-tier coaching staff, and, perhaps most importantly for a player like Garrett, a legitimate chance at winning multiple Super Bowls in the near future. The financial aspect, as discussed by Eisen, is also intriguing. Garrett's contract would be significant, but the Eagles have shown in the past that they are willing to spend to win. The possibility of landing Garrett, even if it means giving up 2 first-round picks, is a move that a team like Philadelphia could justify. A dominant pass rusher like Garrett is a rare commodity, and the opportunity to pair him with their current roster could create one of the most fearsome defenses in NFL history. However, the conversation also brings up the Browns' perspective. Cleveland has invested heavily in building a competitive team, most notably in their controversial decision to trade for Deshaun Watson. Unfortunately, that gamble has not paid off, and the Browns are left in a difficult position. If Garrett were to express dissatisfaction and seek a trade, Cleveland could use the opportunity to rebuild, potentially regaining some of the draft capital they lost in the Watson deal. This would allow them to start fresh, potentially drafting a quarterback in the future and building a more balanced roster. For Garrett, the decision to leave Cleveland would be a tough one. He has become the face of the Browns' defense and has deep ties to the organization. However, as his career progresses, the desire to win a Super Bowl may outweigh loyalty to a team that has struggled to find consistent success. Joining a team like the Eagles, where the infrastructure is in place for long-term success, could give Garrett the opportunity to solidify his legacy as not just a great individual player, but a champion. In conclusion, Myles Garrett to the Eagles is a tantalizing what-if scenario. It speaks to the frustration that elite players often feel when stuck on underperforming teams, as well as the aggressive, win-now mentality of teams like the Eagles. If such a move were to happen, it would undoubtedly shift the balance of power in the NFL, making Philadelphia an even more formidable contender and leaving the Browns to rethink their future. As Eisen suggests, while Garrett's current status with the Browns is stable, the idea of him joining the Eagles is enough to excite fans and strike fear into the rest of the league.